Welcome to this episode of Heal Your Past, Master Your Future. My name's Tracy Malone and I'm a somatic trauma coach, and I'm so grateful that you're here. In this episode, I wanted to talk to you about why do I keep attracting the same pain? Understanding trauma loops and how to break free. It's so normal for us to get into a loop and repeat it again and again. And it's one of the reasons that many clients come to me in the first place. They often say to me, I've been doing personal development, I've even done some forms of therapy, and I seem to keep running up against the same pattern again and again. Can you help me to stop this? And my answer is yes, I absolutely can. That is definitely what I do. And if I may say so myself, but my clients are the better picture of it, I'm very good at it. This is where all of the skills that I have come together, and I wanted to talk to you about that today. These patterns that keep playing over and over, they can be in any area of your life. They could be the same relationship that you're playing over and over. It might be an intimate relationship. It might be friends. Friends might keep letting you down in the same way, or you're coming up against the same conversation with friends consistently, the same arguments and breaking up of friendships consistently. Same with intimate relationships. You think you're in a relationship with a new and different person, but it turns out it's the same story and ends again. Or maybe you've got the one person in your life and you're having on and off relationship with them again and again. It could be in work. You go to a new job and you have the same issues. You keep attracting the same boss. Or self-sabotaging cycles with things like money, food, exercise, anything else you could possibly think of. So if you feel like you're stuck in the loop of heartbreak, rejection, disappointment, this episode will help you understand why it happens, how trauma loops form, and what you can finally do to break free. That's pretty awesome, isn't it? All right. So why does this keep happening to you? The most important thing I really want you to understand is that you are not broken and this is not your fault. It's really, really important to understand. So I'm going to say it again. You are not broken and it is not your fault. You have done nothing wrong. It doesn't matter if you are consistently acting with anger, and you may even have hurt people. Whilst there is some things to be done around healing that relationship, there's also personal responsibility to be taken. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. It doesn't mean you're a wrong person. It just means that you were never given the tools and never given the understanding when you were younger to do things differently. The other thing that I really want you to understand is these trauma loops and these continual cycles, they're not fate. They're not some deep spiritual connection that you've come and you have to keep going until you figure out what it is with this person. In my honest opinion, and I'm a deeply spiritual person who also does psychic readings and helps people on that side of things, these are unhealed wounds. The universe is not conspiring against you. It's not putting you in the same position again and again. Your trauma is. There are so many times where we say, the universe keeps putting me back here until I figure it out. Let's take a little bit more responsibility for that. And from a trauma-informed perspective, we would say your trauma is the thing that continually puts you back in that situation. And I can prove to you how. These are unhealed wounds repeating themselves. But the great news is you absolutely can break that cycle. So why does trauma keep repeating itself? Well, the subconscious, our subconscious mind. Now, what are we talking about with subconscious mind? We're talking about parts of self. We're talking about inner child, the wounded parts of us, those little parts of us that created the story in the first place, that created the loop in the first place. Because if it was as easy as write a gratitude journal, be grateful for what you have, go out there and do it differently, we'd all be doing it differently. We'd all have perfect relationships. We'd all be in the perfect job, or our business would be thriving. We'd have billions of dollars and the world would be extraordinary. And it's not. Okay. And why is that? Because our subconscious, our inner parts, seek what's familiar, not what's healthy. I'm going to say it again. Our inner parts, our inner child, our wounded parts of us, our traumatized parts of us seek familiar, not the healthy. They're not only seeking familiar, they're continually seeking familiar for a reason. We'll go into that in a minute. So your inner parts don't choose what's good for you. It chooses what feels like home. So if home for me when I was a child was I have a really angry dad, I never felt really safe. And I spent more time trying to adjust myself so that I wouldn't get yelled at and tried to figure out what I could do to stay safe. That is the fawn response. And that is dorsal vagal when we're looking at polyvagal theory. So it's that real fawn response of freeze, fawn, dissociation sits down in dorsal. I'm used to that kind of chaos, if I'm used to that kind of drama, if I'm used to never truly feeling safe in my body, then how would it be for me to go out and understand what safety is? Because in my world and in my body and in my story and journey of being the person I am today, home, family, the feeling and sense of belonging, those who created me and put me into this world, is a lack of safety, is to consistently being making sure they're okay and putting my needs after their needs. So their needs are always coming first. And so if somebody walks up to me, or if I meet somebody, or if I go to a job, if I meet a potential new partner, and they are actually not an angry person, they're actually a really kind person, and they grew up in a secure attachment household, and they know how to treat somebody kindly and respectfully. If I go to a job and a boss is really open about talking about things, if they are very much about safety and processes and everything is in place, I would not be physically aligned. My body does not hold the story that matches that scenario. My body is going to be attracted to the drama, the lack of safety, and all the things that I just talked about. A place and a person where my needs don't matter as much as the other person. So if chaos, rejection, or abandonment were a part of your early experiences, they become your psychological home base. Some people will say your brain keeps creating them. Some people will say the universe will keep creating them. I'm going to say that your body keeps creating them because that's where the parts of you lay with this wound is in your body and in your nervous system. And that's where I work from. So I will consistently, until I choose to heal this and understand this, I will consistently choose familiarity over change. And if I grew up in an emotionally neglected household where my emotions did not come first, do you think I would choose a safe man or woman to partner with, or would I choose somebody who was emotionally unavailable? Yeah, straight to emotionally unavailable men because I'm heterosexual. That's the choice that I would be making with that trauma story in my childhood. We always, always, always choose familiarity over change. Our parts are always looking for safety, not what my adult self believes safety looks like from my adult wisdom, education, and everything that I've learned. My body is choosing safety from the pattern and stories it's holding from childhood. So my adult self can go out and do some dating or do some job interviews and go, oh, this person, this seems really lovely and they seem really nice, but I don't feel a connection there. And the next one, the next person, job, whatever it is, can feel a little bit dangerous and you don't feel safe because they don't give you all the information and your body goes, yes, I feel completely aligned with that over there because it feels more like home. But what we're coming to understand is home wasn't safe when we were kids. And so that's how we keep recreating these trauma loops. We are making decisions from the age at which the wound happened. My adult self knows that this is not good for me, but my child self, and who lives in my nervous system and my body, is being literally pulled. She's jumping in the driver's seat of the bus of my psyche, and she's driving straight towards a thing that feels like home for her. And home feels insecure. It feels like a place where my needs were not met and where I had to put myself last and everyone else came first. So if it's your 3-year-old, then I'm making decisions, you're making decisions that are cognizant of a 3-year-old. And maybe you're 30, 40, 50 now, and you're beating yourself up for making these decisions over and over. And this is where anyone who works with me, anyone who listens to this podcast, knows my work, will say self-care is so important, because the decision maker of you, you're in your today self body, the decision maker in you has been your 3-year-old. And then if you beat yourself up for the decision you made and you go, well, that was stupid, I should never have taken that job in the first place, I should have known he really wasn't a very nice person, you're actually just telling your 3-year-old self that she's not good enough again, or he's not good enough again, or they're not good enough again. So self-talk is something that I work with every single person on, because every client on, because it's imperative to part of the healing journey. So let's go over that again. Unresolved trauma creates an emotional imprint in our nervous system. These parts of us seek the same feeling even if it's painful. They will go with what's familiar over change even if it's better, and our adult self knows it's better. Our child self will be driving the bus and running the show until we change this. We will unconsciously continue to recreate the pattern of different people or situations, same story. This cycle reinforces our beliefs of this is how life is, and I'm really not good enough. Obviously, I don't deserve this. I'm the one who keeps repeating this cycle, so obviously I'm the problem. The cycle repeats and repeats and repeats until it's disrupted. And trauma isn't in your mind. It's a really important thing to understand. It's stored in your nervous system. And the best place, in my opinion, to heal your trauma is through your body and your nervous system. Your body reacts before your brain does. Think about that for a moment. Your body reacts before your brain does. And that's why certain people or situations, like I said before, feel magnetic, even when they hurt you. Even when you know that this probably isn't good for you, your body says yes, and your mind's going, why am I actually doing this? And your body is already there. Your body isn't trying to punish you. It's trying to resolve what was never healed by having the need met that wasn't met when you're a child. From a polyvagal standpoint, if this has been your experience and you've spent a lot of time not up in ventral vagal of safety, but you've been in the sympathetic state of fight or flight, and the stress of being in this state for so long lowers your vagal tone and then leads to you not being able to return up to your ventral state. You've down-regulated down to dorsal vagal, which is where freeze, fawn, dissociation live. That's where shame lives. That's where I'm not good enough lives, right down there in dorsal vagal. From this place of dorsal vagal, you do not have the ability to mobilize and make change. You just don't. And that's another conversation for another day. When you are in dorsal, you can't climb your way out. The only way to leave dorsal is to meet yourself in dorsal. It's really important. There are things that you can do outside of that when you're leaving dorsal to tone your vagus nerve, but it's really important to pull shame out. I'm not good enough. I can't do this. None of that exists here. There's meeting yourself here and having so much self-love and so much self-compassion, and that's one of the big steps to climbing out. And I hope you understand from this podcast that trauma loops are really complex and they take time and they need support. You can't think your way out of trauma. You can't talk your way out of trauma. Okay? It's a complex thing. It needs resourcing, support, and someone to facilitate you to build and create the tools to be able to move yourself through this and back up to a place of true safety in your body, which is ventral vagal. So let's now try a little bit of an exercise and only do this if you feel it's safe to do so. Okay, this is best unpacked with a therapist like myself or anyone else if you have a history of trauma loops. But this is an example to bring something to your awareness. Ask yourself these questions. These can be journal, diary entry questions. These are questions of inquiry. What painful experiences keep repeating in my life? What kind of people am I constantly drawn to or am I attracting in my life? What emotions feel like home, even if they hurt me? You know, the first phase of healing and the first phase of pulling yourself out of trauma loops is awareness. And that's really what I want to do in this podcast is to help you bring to your awareness what a trauma loop actually is and how it is that you can start making your way through them so that you don't have to be in one anymore. The thing that I really want you to understand about trauma loops and really difficult patterns that you're continuing in your life, it's not happening to you. It's happening because an old wound, an old part of yourself, a young part of yourself is asking to be healed. Everything that looks like the world and the universe is against you is a part of you asking yourself to be healed, including negative thought loops, including what the world calls monkey brain. Okay, so even your thoughts are a part of you looking to connect with you, to be healed, to have a need met. With your nervous system and your body, when you're triggered, your body wants to react the same way it always has. And that's how it reacted when you were a child. So when you're a child, if your father yelled and you got really scared, if you hear a loud noise, your body will get really scared. Your nervous system will dysregulate and you will go offline. And what that is you're leaving ventral vagal safety and you're going into a stress response of fight or flight. And if you do not have the vagal nerve, the vagus nerve tone to move back up into ventral, you will go down into freeze, fawn, dissociate. Yeah, where the I'm not good enough story comes back again. Shame lives there. One of the great things that you can do is a vagus nerve reset every day. You can build the tone of your vagus nerve so that it feels safe to upregulate. So when you get that first trigger and your body is triggered, instead of going into old patterns, collapsing down into dorsal vagal, freeze, fawn, dissociate, what you're actually able to do when you have a strengthened vagus nerve and you have more tone in your vagus nerve, you're able to upregulate back into ventral vagal, which is, I had a scare. Oh, no, it's okay. It was just someone yelled over there, nothing to do with me. I'm all right. And your body regulates, your nervous system regulates again. And that coupled with some inner parts therapy is an absolutely magnificent tool to heal the trauma so your body doesn't dysregulate again. I have these multifaceted approaches to healing, that it's not just resetting your nervous system, it's working with parts of you, build safety in your psyche and in your body, then rebuild the vagus nerve tone as well so that you are more regulated through your day. Think of it in this way. When you're lifting a 10-kilo weight, so you're doing weights and you're trying to build physical strength, that 10-kilo weight, when you first are lifting it, it feels really heavy and really hard. And if you do it consistently over time, it actually becomes easier to lift. The weight didn't change. You got stronger. And it's the same when you're working inside yourself. It's the same with triggers. The things that seemed hard before, the things that seemed scary, the things that were really triggering for you, they just become easy and they don't trigger you anymore. That's how you build safety in your body. Your inner parts are soothed, your vagus nerve is toned, and life can happen around you, and you're not having these huge reactions to them, these big ups and downs. So, a part of that is rewriting that response, and that is what somatic trauma work is about. And breaking trauma loops means that over time, you're going to choose the unfamiliar, healthy love, safety, and secure connection in other people, and peace. Peace is going to seem so boring at the start because you're so used to those triggers and drama cycles. And we can actually, it's biochemical, we become addicted to that feeling. And it's so incredibly normal. I have loads of clients and friends who have done this as well. They go into new relationships with really safe, dependable, secure, beautiful people, and they go, oh my God, I'm so bored. I'm like, I know. And it's a beautiful thing. And let me tell you why. And then they're like, oh, I don't have to leave. I don't have to go to find the next thing. I don't have to blow this up. I don't have to sabotage this in some way. I can actually stay and I do deserve safety. And it's a beautiful thing. It's work. This is real inner work now. We're not talking about write gratitude lists and manifest things. This is the real work. Okay. Manifesting is simple once your body is online again, lined online with safety, online with secure connection with yourself. So, being bored in a job, being bored in a relationship, it's actually a sign of healing and it's a sign of making amazing adult choices. There are other ways to bring excitement with safety into relationships and into your work, your career, your business, and things. So, one of the first steps, what you can do from here, if there's one thing you can take away from this after awareness, it's letting go of the shame of who you had to be. And that's really important. You did what you had to with the tools that you had available to you. So if you're working with your inner child and your inner child is 3 and your inner child's still driving the bus and making decisions now, your inner child can only make decisions based on the 3 years of human experience they have available to them. So you think about a 3-year-old child, and their abilities in every area. They're not going to make great choices. Nobody at 3 can make great choices because we're 3. We're not meant to make great choices at 3. What we're meant to have at 3 is adults who help us to feel safe and secure and enough within ourselves so that we feel safe every day and we don't have to make big choices. The biggest choices we make are, which do you want to eat, this or that? How much of this do you want to eat? Like, it's such simple things. Would you like to wear this dress or these trousers or whatever it is today? They're the choices we should be making at 3 years old when we grow up in a secure connection household. And when we don't, we're having to make massive decisions. When we are having to make decisions around what do I have to do to be able to be safe right now, we know there's trauma in our body. It is not fair, and it is not your fault that you had to do that. Your parents did the best they could with the tools they had available to them, which is not much. Your past self, your inner child, you weren't weak. You were protecting you. You were protecting yourself the best way you knew how. And when you look at getting down into dorsal vagal, into freeze, fawn, and dissociate, that is no shame either. There is no shame in those states, in that dorsal vagal state. Quite the opposite. This is where I do bring gratitude in. Thank goodness you had the ability to freeze. Thank goodness you had the ability to fawn. And thank goodness you had the ability to dissociate because it kept you safe. It's all we had as a tool back then. And what we're doing now, how we're healing this trauma, is we're bringing new tools in. We're saying that was an amazing tool and you were so incredible for using that tool. And now we've got another tool to use. So instead of I should have known better, shift it to I did the best I could with what I had. I'm so lucky I had freeze, fawn, and dissociation. And an exercise that you might like to take from here after awareness is you might like to write a letter to your past self, to your younger self, from a place of love. It's a really lovely thing to do. Identify what survival mode taught you, because you wouldn't be here without it. Without punishing yourself, what kindness can you give to yourself about thank you for being in survival mode? Thank you for not fighting back. Thank you for not speaking up, because I know that you didn't have the tools and the safety to be able to do so. And as you're writing that letter, maybe let that part of you come forward. Maybe open a dialogue together. And if you would like support around that, that's what I'm here for. So in wrapping up, just please remember, trauma loops aren't proof that you're broken. They're proof that something in you, a part of you, is asking to be healed. And maybe a mantra that you can take away from this one is, it's safe for me to heal. I have the power to make new choices. If this podcast has resonated with you and you'd like to know more about what happens in your body and you would like support facilitating this, a step that you can take, a next natural step, is you might like to look at my Reclaim Your Life Healing with Polyvagal Tools webinar that I've got on my website, where I go into polyvagal, all of those steps that I talked about. If you're like, what are you talking about? Ventral, sympathetic, dorsal, what? It's $10. It's an hour and a half of me going deeper into polyvagal. And if you are ready to work one-on-one, then just connect with me. I'm really happy to work with you in any way that you would like me to. For now, take care, and thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Heal Your Past, Master Your Future.
Heal your past and feel more you. Master your future, it's all within you. Tracy Malone, you'll find your way to brighter moments starting today. To brighter moments starting today. To brighter moments starting today.